So it looked like Bria Hartley is going into hiding. And it looked like Bria Hartley is running after news broke about Sophie Cunningham being out for the season.
What if a single freeze frame could rewrite an entire season? Tonight's story begins with a knee buckling, a crowd falling silent, and a split-second facial expression that set social media on fire. We will trace the collision, the outrage, the family backlash, and the improbable comeback that followed, then ask where accountability truly lives. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel and tap the bell so you never miss stories that cut through the noise and get to what actually matters.
This picture is going viral with Bria Hartley with the sinister grin, right? This malevolent look that's on her face right now, clearly smiling after injuring
the moment
Sophie
that broke the
Cunningham,
game
man.
came fast and left a bruise on the night. Sophie Cunningham collapsed, clutching a knee, and one replay froze Bria Hartley glancing back with what looked like a grin. That single frame ricocheted across feeds and, fair or not, swallowed the story whole. Debate over footwork, angles, and timing evaporated as the camera lingered on a face. The public read intent from a fraction of a second and moved on as if the verdict were obvious. Was it surprise, nerves, or something colder? The image did the talking, and outrage supplied the captions. In the building, the air went thin, trainers rushed, teammates huddled, and a season seemed to teeter. Online, the quip looped, each replay sharpening the edge and inviting hot takes to harden. Whatever the collision was, that reaction became the narrative center. And once a narrative catches fire on social, it rarely softens on its own. It hardens until something stronger pushes back.
Is the play that just occurred.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
The play itself looked chaotic. Up until that point, both teams had traded baskets and kept the pace tight.
If you rewind the play itself, it was messy and fast. Pace stayed high, bodies overlapped in layers, and Hartley came barreling in at an odd angle towards Sophie's planted leg. Mechanics turned ugly in a blink. Cunningham went down, grabbing her knee, while the arena's noise vanished and hands went to heads. On broadcast angles, the sequence looked like a freak tangle, the kind born when momentum outruns balance and spacing disappears. Yet the slow motion that followed pulled focus away from the contact and toward what came after. The human eye gravitates to faces, and faces tell stories, even when we should be cautious about what we think we see. A play that needed patience met a platform that rewards speed. It's easier to clip a reaction than to analyze rotation, foot position, and force. Officials huddled while the internet judged in seconds. That split created two realities. One ruled by process and another driven by a frame. And the frame was winning.
Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness. Should be. You know, scary moment as we went to commercial. Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker room.
Context arrived with baggage. Hartley already carried a reputation that critics highlighted in bold. Previous ejections, chippy moments, and a notorious tangle with Angel Reese were pulled into the frame as if past pages could decide the current chapter. Patterns are tempting. They simplify complex plays into easy headlines, but patterns can also mislead. What looks like confirmation can just be familiarity wearing a new jersey. Still, once fans stitched those incidents together, the narrative tightened and sympathy thinned. Intent felt obvious to many, even without an official ruling. When belief hardens first, evidence comes second. Every fresh angle gets treated like proof, and every hesitation reads like denial. That is how debate over a collision turns into a referendum on character. Fair or not, that was the jet stream the story entered, and getting out would take more than a press release. The next development poured fuel on the timeline.
So Mike put this up about an hour ago. He said to all of those defending Bria Hartley, look at what she liked on Instagram. Emo, she's the dirtiest player in the league and should be kicked out. Most recently, Sophie Cunningham has been hurt with the knee tear and is out for the season. Look at this. Look at this. Now, Bria is the definition of consistency. Now, this is her liking this. This is her liking this post. Y'all see Breezy 1414 and others. Bria is the definition. She's liking this post. Look at this. Death taxes and Bria Hartley always being at the scene of the crime. Now, that's her choke slamming Angel Reese.
Screenshot surfaced showing Hartley's handle, allegedly liking a post that framed her as a repeat offender, the type always near the worst collisions. Whether it was a careless tap, a doom scroll slip, or a misread, the optics were brutal. A viral smirk followed by a public like is gasoline on a conversation already running hot. Critics pointed and said case closed. Supporters countered that platforms are a minefield and likes can be accidental or misread. Either way, perception hardened. The question shifted from was this accidental to what will the league do now? When policy enters a fan debate, calls for punishment tend to drown nuance. In that rush, online certainty beats caution. By the hour, the framing moved from messy play to dirty pattern in the court of public opinion. Then the medical update arrived, and it reset the tone of everything that followed. Feeling set the pace, and once a label sticks, it rarely peels off without something undeniable.
Sophie Cunningham, let's be clear here. Sophie Cunningham was targeted. Let's be very, very clear here. But Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty, dirty player.
Indiana confirmed the worst. An MCL tear ended Sophie Cunningham's season. What had been a scare turned into finality, and the tone changed overnight. This was no longer a debate over soft contact and hard reactions. It was a question about safety in a league that prides itself on toughness and craft. Fans demanded protection. Neutral voices demanded clarity. The standard for physical plays felt uncertain, and the margin for error looked too thin for comfort. A moment asked for leadership, and the microphone did not land where people expected. It landed with family, not officials, and that altered the energy of everything that followed. Injuries always reshape narratives. They turn what if into what now. With Sophie out, the questions widened from one collision to the framework meant to keep nights like this from spiraling. Review speed and transparency became part of it. Fans wanted clear standards and a visible process so trust could survive the next hard fall.
Maybe you should focus her sister. Maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are capable to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you. The only good thing positive surrounding Sophie Cunningham coming out of this game, she looked in good spirits in the locker room.
Sophie's sister Lindsay stepped forward first. Her post on X read like a charge sheet against inconsistent officiating, calling for officials who can call a steady game and protect athletes. It resonated because it came from blood, not a burner, and because it echoed something players and coaches had been saying all season. Consistency keeps people safe. In a league where speed and strength keep rising, the window for hesitation shrinks. Lindsay's message put a bright light on that gap, and when family takes the mic, fans listen. It also raised a hard point. Why did protection fall to relatives after the buzzer rather than referees with whistles during a play? Her words traveled fast and reframed the story in human terms, not just highlight reels. The dispute now had a personal center, and it aimed straight at the stripes. The next voice pushed it further, and media amplified it since it paired emotion with detail, a sticky combo leaders rarely ignore.
Bria Hartley deserves zero benefit of the doubt. And Sophie Cunningham's family not too happy. I believe this is Mama C. Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's playing mean and plays out of control. Looked out of control to me.
Making all kind of excuses to say that Bria Hartley is not a dirty player. Let me tell y'all something, man. Come on in here. Come on in here, man. Let me tell y'all something. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's a duck, man. Come on, man. She is the dirtiest player in the WNBA right now, winning the trophy. all right, winning the trophy for it. Don't sit here and try to tell me Bria Hartley is not a dirty player.
Their mother, Paula, added a blunt take of her own, reportedly calling Hartley disgruntled and plain mean before deleting the message. Deletion did not dull it. Screenshots multiplied and the conversation picked up new heat. For many, the family's words confirmed what they felt watching the clip. For others, they showed why officials, not relatives, should set standards. Either way, pressure climbed. People asked why players could be fined for commentary while in-game collisions seemed to float in the gray zone. That inconsistency became the thread pulling attention from one night to the wider season. It raised the fairness question that lingers. Who protects players in real time and who explains it after? Until that answer is clear, every hard fall invites the same storm. The next act of the night came from the team on the floor, not from the timeline. Indiana still had minutes to play, and a short rotation had to either absorb the blow or push back with resolve.
Mabry knifes off the screen. Charles is doubled.
And Indiana looks like they're in a zone right now.
Kick out and stolen by Mitchell. Explodes 2-on-1. Sims elevates for 2 and a foul.
Bug with their point guards. This is where you have Odyssey Sims coming in. Kelsey Mitchell making a great heads-up play here, but Odyssey Sims has done a great job early on coming in.
Boston backs down Hartley. Aaliyah Boston, excellent post position. Picks up the dribble. Shot clock winding down to 7. Mabry, lob pass. Charles catches. No foul call. That's a huge no call. Looks for cutters. Charles the defense. Back on to Boston. Tina Charles. Backdoor Mitchell pouncing in the paint for 2. 30 points for Mitchell. That's the 4th on Charles.
Can't get caught ball watching right there. Great recognition by Boston as Mitchell makes that backdoor cut.
Inside that pressure cooker, Indiana still had a game to finish. No Sophie, no Caitlin Clark. Down big at the half. The math looked ugly, but the mindset did not. In the huddle, urgency beat panic. Rotations tightened, roles sharpened, and the fever chose stubborn over shaken. Comebacks do not start with hero shots. They start with stops, clear decisions, and one made bucket at a time. The bench held firm, the crowd leaned in, and loose balls bounced their way. A team that looked done chose defiance instead. The second half flipped from survival to belief, and belief is contagious. The scoreboard shrank in steady steps, not luck. The cadence shifted, and Indiana won the little arguments that decide long nights, angles, closeouts, extra passes, and late clock poise. That accumulation matters. It slows the opponent's legs and speeds your reads. And by the time the crowd realized, the game tilted because dozens of small edges leaned the same direction.
Bria Hartley has privated all her social media accounts. Now, this is coming off news breaking about Sophie Cunningham being out for the season. Now, we know there has been people kind of investigating this whole situation with Bria Hartley. And y'all know what I like to say is looking real spooky for Bria Hartley right now.
Kelsey Mitchell detonated after the break and turned the floor into runway. She piled up 38 points, 34 of them in the second half, and kept finding daylight where there should not have been any. Drives split late help, pull-ups landed clean, kickouts arrived on time and in rhythm. Every make loosened the grip of the deficit and tightened the fever's belief. What mattered most was the momentum she manufactured. Indiana did not just score more. They played as if the math had already shifted and the other side had not noticed. When a scorer imposes pace, the entire floor bends. Mitchell bent it until the comeback felt inevitable. The shot diet was smart, the reads quick, the body language contagious. The difference between hope and pressure is one more make, and she kept delivering them while the clock bled toward a new outcome. That kind of surge changes how teammates cut and how defenders close. And it forces coaches to rethink rotations, opening lanes on next trip.
I know Bria, and I'm actually really good friends with Bria, and I have been waiting to get on the pod and so we could talk about this because I did want to tweet it out, but I don't think that there was no ill intent. I think it was basketball play. I was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. She fell. Like, there's no way that she would go in there and potentially try to hurt me. And so I have nothing but love for Bria. And I even like told my mom, because she tweeted something. I was like, no, Mom, like I do that. Like I was like, Bria and I are super cool, and like she would never try to hurt me, because there are some girls that I think might, but she wouldn't do that. And so I have nothing but love. And so I hope people stop giving Bria some heat, because I don't think she meant to do that at all.
Then Sophie spoke for herself, and the tone changed again. First came a defiant post, a classic FAFO message that said she would not be minimized. It read like a promise to keep fighting, injury or not. But on her podcast, she added something few expected. She defended Hartley. She said they were friends, super cool, and that she did not think there was intent to harm. That nuance landed like a curveball. The face from the freeze frame had defined the discourse, yet the person who got hurt offered grace. That is rare, and it forced a pause. It also split the conversation into lanes, one about responsibility and one about empathy. The internet rarely holds both at once, but Sophie tried. The next question was where the focus should go, now that she had lowered the temperature without lowering the stakes. Her stance asked fans to look past a frame and at the systems that decide consequences, to demand accountability without turning rivalry into animosity.
Clear she wanted her perspective represented.
Well, you come at Sophie's sister, you come at Sophie. And Sophie saw this comment, and bless her heart, she answered it. She answered it. Some of us were raised by the words of, quote, don't bite off more than you can chew. And some of us didn't. Quote, F around and find out. F around and find out. Kiss. God bless this woman. Yeah, seriously. She's great.
Her first move was short, but commanding.
Sophie, stance carried history. Earlier in the season, she'd been fined multiple times for calling out officiating. She knows what it costs to speak plainly. So her pairing of defiance with grace looked deliberate. Push back on anyone doubting her team's spine, but also refused to turn a colleague into a villain if the play was bad luck. Fans rallied to that balance. It made room for empathy without asking people to forget what they saw. It also redirected pressure toward the system that decides outcomes after a collision, not toward a single frame of expression. The message was simple. Hold the standard high, keep the game safe, and separate anger from certainty until the process is done. From there, only one debate really mattered, and it did not involve a freeze frame. What should safety look like in real time? And how fast should reviews escalate when a player stays down? Those questions outlive the night, and they are bigger than one rivalry or one viral clip.
But that's hilarious. This hater out there, and there's a lot of them right now. I said yesterday they're mad because Sophie's being called a superstar and this and that and the other. Yeah, Sophie's got more pull than your A'ja Wilson. I mean, Asia's on this monumental run. I literally wouldn't have known that if I hadn't stumbled across somebody that said, well, the WNBA is making A'ja Wilson's late season MVP push. Sometimes, I mean, you just got to pay attention. The WNBA wants to protect certain people and certain players.
Where does accountability live? If safety is priority one, consistency has to live in the whistle and in the review room. Clearer standards, faster escalation when a player is down, transparent follow-up. These elite questions, not family burdens, and nights like this turn them from abstractions into urgency. The Fever proved resilience with the largest comeback in their history. Sophie asserted agency, spoke her mind, and still offered grace. Hartley stepped out of the spotlight as speculation swirled. The story does not end with a frame. It ends with the next steps leaders take and with how teams respond to the line being redrawn. Whatever comes, the takeaway is simple. Protect players better, communicate faster, and let the game be decided by skill, not by slow-motion debates that drown out the bigger fixes. If that happens, nights like this turn from flashpoints into proof that a league can evolve and keep focus on the athletes who carry it. One image went viral, but the truth stretched far beyond a single frame. Indiana found resolve, Sophie found her voice, and the league now faces the hard part. turning discussion into standards everyone can trust. If you value breakdowns that move past outrage and into answers, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. Drop your take in the comments and tell us where accountability should live next.